In my opinion, one of the biggest problems in society is that everyone cares so fucking much about what everybody else thinks. They all try to be copies of each other, not thinking for themselves, only doing things to try to impress others. And then they get older and they realize they've just been bullshitting their entire lives. And they're like, "Oh, god damn it! That was a waste of time!" You probably care at least a little about what other people think of you, and you've probably done things you didn't want to do, just so other people would think better of you, right? And you've probably missed out on doing things you did want to do, just so other people wouldn't think less of you. Hey, don't worry, I've done it too, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. But it is a mistake. One you should learn from so you don't keep making it. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to never care what anybody else thinks ever again, so you can start doing all the things you want to do and not worry about what other people think. Number 1. Understand this. Nobody gives a fuck. I touched on this in my video about living a positive lifestyle, so if you haven't seen that, click the button on the top right of the screen to check it out. What you have to realize is nobody really gives a fuck what you're doing. If you're doing something weird, they might think, "Oh, well, that's weird. That's a weird guy." But they're only gonna think that for a minute, and then they're gonna go back to their lives and not give a fuck. If you do something cool, they might think, "Oh, hey, cool, that guy's cool." But again, they're only gonna think that for a minute, and then they're gonna go back to their lives and not give a fuck. So other people are gonna care about your life for a minute, you're gonna care about it for a lot longer than that. So why the hell would you do something just for them to entertain them for 1 minute when it's going to affect you for days, weeks, months, years, even your entire life? I'm going to give you an example. One of the guys in my neighborhood recently got himself a Ferrari F12. It's a $300,000 car. He drove by me one day and I thought, damn, that's a badass car, because it is. And I was checking it out and thinking it was cool, and I was somewhat impressed. And then 30 seconds later I was thinking about something else and didn't give a shit anymore. So if he had bought that car to impress me or to impress anybody else, sure, I was impressed, but 30 seconds later, I didn't give a fuck anymore. On the other hand, if he bought it for himself because he likes the car, it's his favorite car, he loves it and just enjoys driving it because it's fun, then that's perfectly fine. Because he's going to enjoy it every time he looks at it and every time he drives it, compared to the guy who's only going to enjoy it when other people are looking at it. I'm going to give you another example, and this is an unusual one. One of my cousins is 38 and he lives with his parents. It's not because he's poor or doesn't want to work or he's dependent. He actually makes a lot of money. He enjoys his job. He has a really cool girlfriend. He's confident and he works out every day. He just lives there because he likes living there. He likes being around them because they're nice, positive people and he likes helping them out. Some people think it's strange, but it's irrelevant to him. And that's a mindset you should learn from. The idea of, I don't give a flying shit what anybody else thinks. I'm just gonna do what I want to do. If they like it, okay. If they're neutral towards it, okay. If they don't like it, okay. All I care about is if I like it. Now, I'm not saying you need to copy this exact example. Living by yourself can be a beneficial experience in a lot of cases. But you can definitely copy this guy's mindset. If you want to do something, you should only do it because you want to do it. And your decision should never be influenced by what other people want. Because even in an example like this, the people who think it's strange for a few seconds and then they just get on with their day, whereas he's the one who's going to be living in it. Number 2. Understand people. It's real easy to get worked up when other people are looking at you, saying things you don't like or doing things you don't like. But it's helpful if you stop looking at them as interchangeable robots and see them as actual people. They all have their own lives. If someone is a dick to you, maybe they're just having a bad day. Maybe they just have bad social skills and don't even realize it. Maybe they're not good at expressing themselves and they come off as a dick when they're trying not to. Maybe they just went through a breakup or a death in the family and they aren't thinking about anybody else. Maybe they were abused as a kid. A lot of times, you see other people as either robots or as clones of yourself. You assume that because you would act differently, it's baffling why they wouldn't as well. But they're not robots, well, not all of them anyway, and they're definitely not your clones. Be understanding of them. If someone is doing something you don't like, there are 3 ways to look at it. Level 1, anger. You get mad, you argue with them, you allow yourself to get really worked up. Level 2, you look down on them. You recognize that they're not as smart as you are, or they're not as confident as you are, or whatever it is, and you feel superior about it and you laugh at them. Level 3, you understand them. You understand why they might be the way they are, and why they might be acting the way they're acting, and it doesn't affect you. Obviously, level 3 is where you want to be. Now, when I say understand them, I don't mean you have to analyze each person you meet and try to figure out exactly why they have the personality they have. You can do that if you want, but ultimately what's important is just realizing that they're different and that they're who they are for various reasons, and it doesn't bother you. Also, in Level 2, if you're actually better than someone in some regard and you recognize the difference, that's not a bad thing. Maybe you truly are smarter than someone else, and the reason they're being a dick is because they're frustrated that they can't understand and comprehend what you're saying. Recognizing that fact is fine, but what you want to avoid is feeling superior about it, like, LOL, I'm such a badass and he's such a loser. You can recognize differences in yourself and others without being an asshole about it. Number 3. Practice competing with yourself. The desire to compete with others and to be better than others is nothing but conditioning. You're conditioned biologically to want to best others, so you're more likely to survive. And you're conditioned socially to want to best others, so they think you're cool and you're more likely to rise in society. But nowadays, in most all cases, there's no practical purpose to this mindset. Here's an example. I have a friend who's really successful, really successful. Can pretty much do anything he wants whenever he wants, and he's only limited by his own creativity. Now, recently, I became more successful myself. And I even have some things he doesn't. For example, I have a great relationship with my family, and he doesn't really have anyone. So when I ran into him, this thought went through my head like, ha, he might be more successful than I am, but I have something he doesn't. And then immediately afterwards I thought, why did I even think like that? I like this guy, he's helped me, I want him to be happy. And furthermore, whether he's happy or not, it doesn't affect me anyway, because I still have everything I have no matter what he's doing. So, I found it really weird that one of the first things that went through my head was that competitive spirit. You can see it serves no real purpose other than to promote negativity. Stop worrying about others and start competing with yourself only. If you're playing a game, ignore other people's high scores and try to beat your own score. If you're running track, don't just worry about beating the other people, worry about beating your own best times. If you're trying to improve your reading speed, don't go looking up things like average reading speed to compare yourself to others. Practice it and then compare your speed to your own previous speed. Compete with yourself, not others. Start doing this more and more, and you'll start shredding that conditioning and caring about it less and less. Number 4. Stop using social media all the time. Social media almost always reinforces the desire to impress other people. You take pictures thinking about whether other people will think you look good or not, or whether they think you'll look cool doing whatever you're doing. Or you put a picture of your new car on there so people can like it and tell you how impressed they are. And then you look at their pictures and you compare how many likes and comments you have, and if you have more than they do, you feel a little twitch of happiness. And if you have 1,000 followers and they have like 300, you're thinking, ha, loser. And if they have pictures of them doing really cool things, you think, holy shit, I need to do that too so I can be as cool as they are. Jesus, that attitude is so stupid. I mean, think about it. Somebody posts a cool picture, you look at it, you're impressed for a few seconds, then you keep scrolling, that's it. Wow, a few seconds. They put all that time and effort into looking good and cropping and filtering that picture, and they probably even took 20 different shots so they could pick the best one just to look as cool as possible. And you looked at it for 3 seconds and then you forgot about it. Ha! What an excellent use of their time. So, as you can see, it's really just a big circle jerk of time wasting and bullshitting. And at the end of the day, nobody even gives a shit. This is really similar to tip number 1 because social media is one of the biggest places, maybe even the number 1 biggest one, where you actually get into that competitive spirit of trying to impress people who ultimately don't even care, and who won't have any effect on your life even if they do care. Wow! Of course, I'm not saying everyone who uses social media only does it for this reason, but you'd be lying to yourself if you acted like you didn't know it was a huge part of it. If you're really into photography and editing and all that, then sure, spend time on your pictures, but don't lie to yourself. If you think about it and realize you're doing it to seek validation from others, and you aren't enjoying the process of actually creating it, then you're doing it to please other people and you need to cut it out ASAP. So, in summary, number 1, nobody gives a fuck what you're doing, so just do you, don't do them. Number 2, understand people. Number 3, compete with yourself, not others. Number 4, cut your social media usage. If you have any more tips you want to share with me or the other viewers, leave them in the comments below because I'm going to be reading all of them. Alright, now, homework. Start practicing this stuff. Do stuff other people wouldn't usually think is cool. Wear some hot pink sneakers the next time you go out. If you're in your 20s or older and you want to go on a date with a girl, tell her you live with your parents even if you don't, just to see what happens. Post a picture of you doing something goofy on Instagram or just delete your Instagram altogether. Basically, just try a few things that you usually wouldn't do because you think other people would think you're uncool. Then you realize nobody gives a fuck anyway, and from that point on, you know you can do whatever you want. Hey, if you like this video, I also recommend these 2 videos. 11 steps to instantly make your life more positive and how to achieve any goal you want. These videos really complement each other and I highly recommend watching them all.